This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. The entire wind and moon garden was as red as the setting sun. The blood-red moon hung high in the sky, and everyone looked up in shock. Everyone in the city looked up and was dumbfounded. The moon GUI turned red, indicating that in a month, one of the 4 secret lands of the 4 major domains, the everlasting earth and the heaven wasteland, would descend on the purple cloud peak outside of the red moon city. This change came too suddenly, making it difficult for everyone to react for a moment. Big brother Yunxiao, are you alright? Jiang Ruobing suddenly cried out and found Yunxiao covered in cold sweat. His face was extremely pale and his eyes were tightly closed. Yunxiao did not dare to open his eyes at this moment, so he said in a hurry, "I'm fine. I'm just a little uncomfortable. I'll be fine after resting." Jiang Ruobing stepped forward to support him and said, "Maybe it's because of the battle just now. You can sit for a while." She helped Yunxiao to the throne and let him sit down slowly to rest. The scene made everyone feel very uncomfortable. "Let me help you," Ning Kuyue said. She reached out her hand. Yunxiao trembled with fear as he hurriedly leaned back and said, "No need, no need. It's an old illness acting up. Don't do it." Ning Kuyue was stunned for a moment. She took back her hand and said, "All right, then you should rest quietly." A hint of doubt flashed in her eyes. "Sister Kuyue, how did you know the city lord of Yanwu?" Ruan Yuanxi suddenly asked. "It's fate, so I know him," Ning Kuyue said. Ruan Yuanxi Engluo. Everyone knew that she did not want to say it. However, for this person, she dared to cripple Dong Menyuan and offend Martial Emperor Yi Ying, Ling Bai, in public. The relationship between the two of them was not that simple. In fact, they were overthinking it. Ning Kuyue was a fearless demoness. Saving Yunxiao was one thing, but Dong Menyuan had dared to be so arrogant in Red Moon City. Even if there was nothing else, he would still be crippled. Although Ruan Zima was extremely unhappy, he was much more at ease than before. Now that Li Yi, the big threat, was gone, Yunxiao still had Iron Sheet to control him, and Cheng Haomiao and Bai Ming Lifeng had agreed to go easy on him. The victory in the group arena was basically guaranteed. "My lords, can the red color of the sundial really accurately indicate the arrival of the end of time?" Dong Menin asked in a deep voice. "There's a slight error, but not by much," Ruan Yuanxi said. "Yes." Dong Menin nodded. "This is a serious matter. I have to report to the Soul Devourer sect first. There's also my third brother's matter. I hope your sect can spare his life for the time being," he said hesitantly. "My sect leader will definitely ask about this matter personally." Ruan Yuanxi was just about to agree. He had no intention of killing Dong Menyuan, but he still fell silent and turned to Ning Kuyue. It seemed that this matter was no longer up to him to decide. "I really don't have a good impression of your Soul Devourer sect," Ning Kuyue said indifferently. "Even if Huangfu Bai asks, Dong Menyuan will most likely die." Everyone was sweating profusely. This demoness' words were too willful. Ning Kuyue looked at Dong Menin, who had an extremely ugly expression, and snorted. "However, as one of the 7 supreme sects, I will still give this little face to Huangfu Bai, even though the outcome will be the same." Only then did Dong Menyin's expression turn for the better. He cupped his fists and said, "If that's the case, then I'll have to thank Lady Kuyu. These 2 matters are rather urgent, so I'll return to the sect now. Brother Yuanxi, goodbye." After he finished speaking, he turned into a ray of light and left. At this moment, many of the powerful cultivators in the void who had escaped the calamity had left one after another. It was as if the opening of the end of the world had shocked them greatly. In the city lord's mansion, Jiang Churen could not suppress the excitement in his heart as he muttered to himself, "The immortal realm has finally arrived. Tianxi, I must obtain it no matter what." Ruan Hongyu looked at him worriedly and said, "The ability of heavenly thoughts is too powerful. We'd better find Yunxiao first and see if he can fully come into contact with Ruame's curse mark." If he can, we don't need to take this risk. Jiang Churen shook his head and said, not just for Ruame, even if it's for the sake of the Red Moon City, I must obtain Tianxi. If I can refine the heavenly thoughts, Red Moon City will be able to stand above the other 6 sects, and I won't have to always complain about my incompetence. Ruan Hongyu's heart ached and she said sadly, Churen, why are you so sad? You've already done very well. Jiang Churen said, this is also for my own sake. It's already very difficult to make any further progress after cultivating to this stage. This heavenly thought may be a breakthrough in my path of martial Tao. If I obtain it, there will be a vast sea and sky in front of me. If I lose it, it may be the end. Ruan Hongyu snuggled up to Jiang Churen and held him from the side. She said gently, but no matter what, you must place your safety as your top priority. It doesn't matter if it's for the sake of the Red Moon City, me, or our daughter. Jiang Churen smiled and patted his little hand. Don't worry, I'm one of the few experts in the world, what are you afraid of? There isn't much suspense in the arena battle this time. Zimao will win without a doubt. Ruan Hongyu was taken aback and asked, why are you interested in Zimao again? That Li Yunxiao's combat strength is far above Zimao's. Jiang Churen smiled and said, the arena is a competition of strength, but the competition below the arena is a competition of comprehensive strength. I believe Zimao will handle Yunxiao's matter well. If he can't, I'll be disappointed. But from what I can see, Ruabing has no interest in Zimao, Ruan Hongyu said with a frown. Instead, she has a good impression of this Li Yunxiao. This Li Yunxiao is indeed a rare talent, Jiang Churen said with a smile. But his identity is too mysterious. I feel more at ease handing Ruabing over to Zimao. As for good feelings, they would naturally have good feelings after being together for a long time. What attracts her to Yunxiao is his unique mystery. What girls want in the end is that sense of security. It seems like you really understand women, Ruan Hongyu muttered. You've got your ways. Why didn't you take this witch in back then? Jiang Churen laughed, didn't I take you in as my disciple? However, the only thing that worries me now is, his smile suddenly disappeared. Ruan Hongyu seemed to have sensed something and said, Ning Kuyue? Not bad. Jiang Churen nodded gently. This crazy girl loves Ruabing very much. If she tries to stand up for Yunxiao, I'm afraid the ending will change. However, if Sister Kuyue can guarantee Yunxiao's safety with his background and identity, with his talent, his future achievements will be no less than mine, and I might consider letting Ruabing marry him. That crazy woman doesn't think so much, Ruan Hongyu quickly said. She's always doing what she likes. If she were to do it, she would harm Ruabing for the rest of her life. Even though I'm not Ruabing's mother, I've always treated her as my own and have never taken her side. I can't let Ruabing marry Li Yunxiao. Churen, if there's really a conflict, are you sure you can suppress that crazy woman? Jiang Churen was stunned for a moment before he shook his head with a bitter smile. Ruan Hongyu's expression changed drastically. How is that possible? Even you are not her match? Jiang Churen shook his head and said, this isn't a matter of strength. You also know that she's a demoness who never considers the consequences of her actions, and I'm the Red Moon City Master. My identity has determined that I will never fight with her. Even if he could suppress her, it would be a lose-lose situation for both sides. The consequences would be too serious. So, if she insists on supporting Yunxiao, Zimao will have to solve it himself. As her uncle, I can't force her to do it. Ruan Hongyu's expression became extremely ugly. From the sword she had seen through the water curtain, even if she and Ruan Yuanxi joined forces, they would not be a match for that woman. Jiang Churen glanced at her and sighed, besides, I'm very happy to see Sister Kuyue walk out of the Peach Blossom Cove and her martial skills have improved. With the opening of the ancient times, I will be able to wholeheartedly search for Tianxi. Ruan Hongyu was shocked. Churen, don't say that. I'm so scared. Jiang Churen laughed. Don't worry, I'll be fine. However, if I'm injured or something else, Red Moon City won't be affected much with little sister Kuyue here. Ruan Hongyu's mind was in a mess. She threw the challenge tournament to the back of her mind and didn't have the mood to think about it. What? This is a kasaya. Suddenly, Jiang Churen let out a shrill cry, which made Wan Hongyu's heart skip a beat. Her husband rarely lost his composure like this. Even when the moon turned red, he still looked very calm. She followed her husband's gaze and looked into the water curtain. She saw Yunxiao's throne emit a strong light, resonating with the other 6 thrones and slowly rising into the air, as if connecting with some kind of array. Then, beams of light converged on Yunxiao. What's this? Wan Hongyu asked in shock. She had never seen such a phenomenon before. Jiang Churen's expression was extremely grave as he said in a low voice, martial skill inheritance. Yunxiao had actually triggered the martial technique inheritance on the throne. Fuck me, how is this possible? As one of the 7 sect masters, he couldn't help but swear. Weren't the martial arts techniques on the throne all messed up and sealed by the city lord 10,000 years ago? Wan Hongyu asked in shock. That's right, Jiang Churen replied. However, the city lord who sealed the throne 10,000 years ago had engraved his martial arts inheritance on the seal, and no one had been able to undo it for so many years. As time passed, everyone thought that it was non-existent. I didn't expect it to be true. Inherited martial skill, kasaya. Wan Hongyu was also stunned. She had heard of the rumor and never thought that she would be able to see it in her lifetime. Jiang Churen's expression was unusually grave as he said in a low voice that generation's Red Moon City Lord was known as the strongest generation in the past 10,000 years. A martial technique that even he can't help but inscribe is definitely not an ordinary thing. In any case, Li Yunxiao must stay. At this moment, the Wind and Moon Garden was filled with shock and confusion. Just as Yunxiao was sitting on the throne and resting, a beam of light appeared naturally and enveloped him. Then, the 7 thrones resonated inexplicably and slowly rose into the air, forming an array. Everyone stared blankly at the 7 thrones in the sky, which were connected in a line, and all the beams of light were converging on Yunxiao. They immediately thought of the martial technique inheritance that Wan Zimao had mentioned earlier, and their hearts were filled with unspeakable envy, jealousy, and hatred. Wan Zimao trembled with jealousy. The supreme martial art of Red Moon City, a divine ability that no one had been able to inherit for 10,000 years, had been inherited by Yunxiao in front of him. If Ning Qiue had not been here, he would have rushed forward to interrupt the inheritance even if he would have been seriously injured. Master, Jiang Ruobing said awkwardly, is this a kasaya? A martial technique inheritance? Ning Qiue nodded. There was an indescribable feeling in her eyes. This brat actually has such good fortune. It seems that he is not an ordinary person. If you marry him, you will not suffer a loss. Master, what nonsense are you talking about? Jiang Ruobing was extremely embarrassed. With so many people present, her face was as red as an eggplant. She said in embarrassment and anger, I'm just an ordinary friend of his. Master, don't you dare speak nonsense and ruin my reputation. Ning Qiue smiled. It's okay. No one can beat him in the challenge tournament anyway. You will marry him sooner or later. Jiang Ruobing felt everyone's eyes on her. She was so embarrassed that she felt dizzy. She stomped her foot and said angrily, Master is too bad, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. She immediately turned into a ray of light and fled, too embarrassed to stay. Nailin Jishuan laughed and followed after him with her maidservant, Xiaoxue. Wan Yuanxi looked at his son's pale face and felt his heart tighten. He stepped forward and said, Sister Qiue, isn't it a little inappropriate for an outsider to obtain the exceptional inheritance of our Red Moon City? Ning Qiue said, I don't want outsiders to get it either, but if you're so capable, why don't you try to get it for me? These 7 thrones have been in the Red Moon City for 10,000 years, and no one has ever obtained them. Wan Yuanxi said in a deep voice, even if no one in the Red Moon City can get it now, it still belongs to the Red Moon City. Sooner or later, someone from the Red Moon City will get it. If the inheritance is passed on, it will be lost. Ning Qiue snorted. You mean you want me to interrupt his inheritance now? Yes. Ruan Yuanxi said. If little sister Kuyu feels that it's not convenient for you to take action, then let this big brother do it for you. He released elemental energy waves from his body and was ready to attack at any moment. Ning Kuyue's eyes flashed coldly. You dare? She immediately suppressed Ruan Yuanxi's aura with her aura and sneered, you don't have to worry. After the challenge tournament, this Li Yunxiao will be one of us. Anger appeared on Ruan Yuanxi's face, but he had nothing to say. Suddenly, a voice rang out. The inheritance of the throne is something that has been seen for the first time in 10,000 years. It is an opportunity. You must not interrupt. With a flash of light, Jiang Chuan and Ruan Hongyu appeared. The people of Red Moon City were shocked and hurriedly came forward to bow, City Lord. Everyone was shocked. It was actually the City Lord of Red Moon City, one of the 7 sect masters. These juniors were all hot-blooded and their eyes shone with a strange light. All of them appeared to be a little nervous. They had all grown up listening to the stories of these legendary figures. Now that they had seen them in person, they could not help but be extremely excited. Jiang Chuan excused everyone and smiled, congratulations, Sister Kiyue, for walking out of the haze of the past. Ning Kiyue smiled and bowed. Thank you for your concern, City Lord. Jiang Chuan nodded and said to the crowd, thank you all for coming all the way to Red Moon City to give me face. Today's meeting will end here. Everyone, please disperse. The arena tournament will be held 3 days later, so there's no need to sign up. I welcome everyone to participate. Everyone was flattered and expressed that they would definitely attend. Then, they left one by one under Ruan Zimao's arrangements. Everyone knew that they had to deal with the matter of the martial skill inheritance. At that time, Dong Menyuan was so arrogant that Jiang Chuan could not come out. Now, he had come here personally. It could be seen how important the inheritance was. It was somewhat inconvenient for them to be present. This time, not only did they get the help of the Heaven Wave Mirror, but most of them also had a breakthrough in martial arts. They also witnessed the incredible battle with their own eyes, which caused unimaginable shock to them. Finally, they even saw the master of Red Moon City, one of the 7 sect masters. It could be said that this trip was not in vain. After everyone had left, Ruan Yuanxi hurriedly said, City Lord, this Li Yunxiao is really an outsider. If we don't pass on the martial arts to him, the peerless martial arts of Red Moon City will be leaked to the public. I understand what you're saying, Jiang Chuan said. Let's not talk about whether Yunxiao will become one of us, but it's a good thing that he can take the cultivation technique on the throne, as it has not been passed down for many years. Moreover, we can use him as an opportunity to find the lost supreme art. If we rashly interrupt it, we don't know when we will be able to obtain it again. Ruan Yuanxi was stunned for a moment, and he had nothing to say. He sighed and stood silently to the side. Ning Kiyue was a little worried and said, since this absolute art has to be passed down through the throne, it's naturally difficult to teach it with words and actions. If Yunxiao has learned it, how does the City Lord plan to let him spread it out? You don't have to worry about how to get him out, sister, Ruan Hongyu said. I'm very curious, what's the relationship between the girl and this person? For him, you've crippled the 2nd place of the 8 symbols ranking and even broke off your relationship with a titled martial sovereign. This courage is unparalleled. Ning Kiyue said indifferently, since it doesn't matter how he spread it, my relationship with him is even less important. However, if you use the soul-searching technique to read his memory inheritance, that won't be fun. Jiang Chuan said, it'll be great if he can use his own methods to pass down the martial arts. If it didn't work, soul-searching was the best way. Although it's dangerous, as long as you control it carefully, you can still avoid hurting him. Ning Kiyue frowned. Soul-searching is out of the question. City Lord, you'd better think of another way. Otherwise, you'll make everyone unhappy. Ning Kiyue. Ruan Hongyu said angrily. Isn't the peerless inheritance of the Red Moon City worth the risk? Although there were no outsiders here, Ning Kiyue's disrespect for Jiang Chuan still made her furious. Ning Kiyue smiled and said, it's not worth it. You. Who is this Ning Kue standing in front of me? Is it the witch or someone from the Ning family of the Red Moon City? Ruan Hongyu asked. If she was a demoness, Jiang Churan would be able to drive her out of the city. If they were from the Ning family, they must obey the city lord's orders. Ning Kue sneered and said, "Don't try to pressure me with your reasoning. I'm a witch. I'm also a member of the Ning family. I'll listen to the city lord's orders if they're reasonable, but if they're unreasonable, then I can only." Ruan Hongyu was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. She had been the mistress of the Jiang family for so many years and no one had ever dared to talk back to her like this. However, she couldn't even beat the person in front of her. She was so angry that her body trembled, and she didn't know how to vent the anger in her chest. All right, stop arguing," Jiang Churan said with a headache. Perhaps he could easily obtain the absolute art. If he really wanted to reach that step, he would have to wait for that step. My attitude is that the ultimate technique of the Red Moon City must be left in the Red Moon City. Ning Kue smiled and said, "Why not? Who could defeat Yunxiao in the arena tournament 3 days later? Big sister Hongyu, he's going to be your son-in-law soon. You have to treat him better." Bullshit. I don't agree. Facing Ning Kue, Ruan Hongyu couldn't help but swear. She said angrily, "I'm Jiang Ruobing's mother. I don't agree. It's useless even if he's invincible." Oh. Ning Kue smiled and said, "Is Brother Churan going to break his promise of the Crimson Moon Order? Now, there's suddenly some additional conditions, and you even need your parents' consent. This will make the world's heroes laugh at our Red Moon City." Jiang Churan felt a headache when he saw the two women arguing. They were both people he could not afford to offend, so he could only say, "It's still unknown whether this Li Yunxiao will take part in the challenge tournament or not. Besides, the inheritance of martial arts can't be completed in 1 or 2 days. I'm afraid he might not make it in time." Ruan Hongyu's eyes lit up. The arena tournament will begin in 3 days. Since it's an unparalleled technique, it's normal to pass it on for 1.5 years. You want to be my son-in-law in Red Moon City? There's no hope in this life. Just wait for your soul to be searched. She sneered. She didn't know why, but she just didn't like Ning Kue. Ning Kue snorted and said, "Humph, next life? It's not like your daughter is the only one in the Red Moon City. At most, I'll find a girl from the Ning family to marry him. Is it so difficult to be the son-in-law of the Red Moon City? You coward." Ruan Hongyu was speechless. "That's a good idea," Ruan Yuanxi said. He also hoped that his son would marry Jiang Ruobing, as long as Yunxiao could be sent away. As for who said the martial art inheritance was, he did not care so much. Jiang Churan said, "Let's leave this matter as it is for now. We'll talk about it after he comes out of the inheritance." The most important thing now was the opening of the world's end. Soon, the world would be shaken, and experts from all sects would come. It was a huge pressure on the safety of the Red Moon City. But you've completely offended Ling Bai at this time, so it's not wise. Ruan Hongyu sneered. Sister Kue's martial arts are unrivaled. Ling Bai is nothing to her. Besides, she also said that Ling Bai would come and beat her up. When this man comes, Sister Kue will deal with him. We can rest assured. Jiang Churan frowned and said, "Hongyu, don't be so cold. At this time, everyone should work together. If Ling Bai was here, he would be the enemy of the entire Red Moon City. However, Sister Yu's method is not wrong. Crippling Dongmen Yuan and raising the prestige of our Red Moon City is not a bad thing.